Hi developers, welcome back to Python Simplified series. Um, let's step up our game and today we're gonna learn few basics of Python. So let's get started. Comments. So comments in Python begins with a hash symbol and they are meant to document the code snippets because when you are into writing the code and you may be moving on from one project to the other, you may tend to forget why what this particular code snippet does. So it's recommended to document but don't make it too verbose. Okay, so as you can see, this is a comment. So it starts with a hash or a bank. You can mention author, your name, and what it does. So in this example, this saying hello to the world, so print hello world. Okay, next slide. Variables. Let's go over what variables are. Think variable as a containers in computer memory where you can store the values and retrieve when you require it. So in this example, um, you see here on the right side, think this is the computer memory. Well, in reality it will not be layout like this, but this is just to simplify the example. So let's say on the left side you say age equal to 18. So in computer memory what happens is a container is allocated and an integer object where the value is stored there, that's nothing but 18, and it is labeled so that your code can reach to that container to store it using assignment operator, and if needed you can also retrieve it by writing it to the right side of the equal to operator. Okay, so these are integers, so or whole numbers. So as you can guess, this will not have any decimal points, but it doesn't mean all the data values has to be integers or whole numbers. It can be a floating number. So as you can see, 213.5, it has a floating decimal point. It is identified by another container or label called total, so it is stored here. But in reality, in real life, the data tends to be of different categories: whole numbers, floating point numbers, and it can be strings. So to distinguish a string, you have to single quote the value you are trying to store. So here I said, hey, YouTube handle is equal to hyperbadi here. So another container is created and it is accessible by this particular labeled variable. So think the syntax is variable equal to expression. So variables are always to exist to the left of a equal to operator. Okay, and the expression is we're gonna learn about what expressions are. Okay, before we do that, let's there are few rules. You cannot just keep giving names to variables the way you wish, uh, because the Python follows certain rules. So in the variable must start with a letter or an underscore. For example, user1 underscore temp. It cannot start with a number, so this is invalid. If you try to write this code, the language server is going to flag this as an error. It can contain letters, numbers, and underscores. Remember, it cannot contain spaces. So if you wish to have uh, you know the verbose names, so make sure you put place and underscore uh, to separate the words. um, and remember, they are case sensitive. For example, the variable name is different than this name because this starts with an uppercase letter, this is all lowercase, so this is definitely going to be different. Okay, so As I said in my previous slide, the syntax for of a variable was variable to the left of an equal to operator, and then an expression. So let's understand what expressions are. So expressions are always written on the right hand side of an equal to operator. Okay, for example, the expressions are categorized into multiple. We'll go over it one by one. So the first one is the constant. So they always return the same value. For example, here 42 is just a value. It cannot be changed. Once it is assigned to this particular variable, um, the variable is going to hold that value. Okay. So hello, again, this is string constant, and this is a floating point constant which I'm assigning to pi 3.14. So the value of a variable can be changed, but this is going to remain same. What will happen is, if you try to assign row number to 50, then that 42 will be discarded and the row number variable will be pointing to new 51. Okay, now let's go over. So what are you gonna do with those variables? Well, you can have arithmetic expressions. For example, I assigned a variable called 5 to a, 3 to b. Then I can compute the sum. I'll say a plus b. Now remember the rule: the variable always exists to the left of an equal to, whereas the expressions are on the right of the equal to operator. So in the arithmetic, as the name suggests, you can perform few arithmetic operations. For example, you can use operators like plus to compute the sum of a and b. If you use a subtraction or minus, then we are going to compute the difference. And to multiply two variables, you can use an asterisk star. To compute the quotient, okay, you can say a over b slash. This is going to give you the floating point number, because it is going to divide 5 over 3, and as you can see, computers are very good in maintaining the precision, so it is going to give you this much precision uh, number. Now in few cases, what happened, like, you are not interested in on the what is there on the right side of a decimal. Instead, you want to see what is the left to a value. So you can say a over b. So in that case, you have to use two slashes, so it will return the left of this one. So the remainder, so in that case, what happened, if you divide 5 over 3, okay, so it is going to give the remainder of 2. Okay, simple math. Now what if you want to compute a power, a exponent raised to a base? So here the exponent is a, which is nothing but 5, and to power or to compute the exponent, you have to use double star. Remember, the single star is for computing the or multiplying or the product. Here the double star means raising the value, whatever is left is raised by this b. So it is a over b, a raised to the power of b. So the value of b was 3. So 5 cube, 5 times 5 times 5, this is giving you 125. All right. So we saw constant expressions, we saw arithmetic expressions. Now let's move over to relational expressions or comparison expressions. So these comparison expressions, it lets you compare two values. Okay, and when you are comparing the two values, the outcome can be either true or false, or also known as a Boolean result. Okay, so in this example, a is 5, b is 3. I'm saying, hey, is greater. So remember, this is the expressions always to the right hand side of the assignment operator, that's equal to. So if you say 5 greater than 3, yes, indeed, so the result will be Boolean, and it will be assigned to is greater than variable. Now is lesser, So you just have to use the less than symbol. Then the value is, of course, is 5 is less than 3? Nope, false. And is equal, so e is equal, compare both the quantities, a equal to. So you cannot use single equal to, because equal to is used for assignment. Okay, so it will first evaluate, is compare, is 5 equal to 3? I don't think so, so the result is false. So false will be assigned to is equals to. Now let's see not equals. So to compare both values for not equality, use exclamation and equal to, also read as not equal to. Say a is not equal to b, indeed, because 5 is not equal to 3, so the value will be true. So now let's check, is greater than or equal to. So you can say, hey, I can use greater than equal to and say b, a, true, yeah, of course. Then is less than equal to, you got it, a is less than equal to b, nope, it's not, so false will be assigned to this variable. Now let's move on. Logical expressions. So we saw constant expression, we saw arithmetic expressions meant to perform arithmetic operations or math operations. We saw comparison expressions to compare two variables. Now logical expressions. So logical expressions, what they do is they lets you combine more than two boolean values. Okay, or more than two logical, not logical, what do you call, relation comparison expression. So here I am saying age is equal to 18 and elections in progress equal to true. So you can write one statement: if age is greater than equal to 18 and elections in progress, so two condition has to be fulfilled. Then we said go and cast your vote. So if both are, if the both conditions are met, and then only this will be printed, or it will not be printed. And the way we are comparing these two relational expressions, using the and. So you can use and, or, and not. Okay. So string expressions, um, last but not least. So what it does, what you can do is, the any string in Python is encoded in single quotes or double quotes. Okay, like this. So here I have John and Doe. So this is going to concatenate um, these two values to produce one value, John Doe. Yeah, it's funny, in Python, you can do this kind of arithmetic addition, but not other operations like subtraction, multiplication, or division. So addition is only allowed, and it makes logical sense also. You're trying to add first name and last name together to create the full name. Then what if apart from the addition plus operator, there is a star operator is used, but instead of taking another string, it takes an integer value. So what it does, so it multiplies this star 10 times. Or think this star, if the left hand side is a string and the right hand side is an integer, think it's a repeat. So whatever you give here, it's going to repeat those many times. So here in this case, 10. Okay. All right, we made it to the last, and then let's firm up our understanding. Let's head over to our Python VS Code editor and try those out real quick. Okay, so we are in VS Code editor. I want to make it easy on your eyes. So here, what you do is, you can click File and go to the settings. Where are you? Settings or preferences? Go to the settings and just look for wheel, and you can click check this. And what it does is, if you do the control and mouse wheel up, it's going to increase the font. Let's try that out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to create one more file and name it as basics. dot py. Okay, so now I have a blank Python script which I can write now. So let's say a equal to 5, going back to the same examples, b equal to 3. Okay, so you can say control and wheel up. There you go. So it is going to increase the font. So um, first we learned about the comments. So comments, as I said, starts with a hash symbol. Okay, so what I can do is I can say, hey, store 5 to variable a. So this is variable. Okay, um, store 3 in variable b. Sorry. Then let's compute the sum. So this is constant and this is constant. Okay, I'll say sum equal to a plus b. Okay, and I can then we'll say difference. Okay, difference equal to a minus b, and say product is a times b, and quotient is a over b. Then I need the floor quotient, so a 2 slashes b, then remainder, right? Remainder equal to a percentage b. Okay, now let's quickly display the results. Mm. So you can say here print a equals to a, then b equals to b. Okay, print sum equal to whatever. So we use the sum. Remember, we have computed here sum. Then if you want, you can write like this: difference equal to diff. Okay, and then product equal to product, and then quotient equal to quotient. Okay, now let's hit the play button. Sorry, this interpreter, I just will exit, and here I run it. So as you can see, uh, you can, let me kill this and run it again. See, the value is a equal to 5, whatever you have printed, and b equal to 3. This is exactly what we have printed. Then sum 5 plus 3, 8, difference is 2, product is 15, and quotient is whatnot. Let's just print out floor quotient and remainder. Okay, so we'll say print floor quotient equal to floor quotient, and say print remainder remainder. There you go. And I gave you example of the stars. So you'll say, hey, stars equal to, not start, stars equal to stars times say 20, or why say 20, 50, who cares? Now print say stars. Okay, and then save it and run it. There you go. So floor quotient is 1, remainder is 2, and these are our stars. That's all I got. So in the next video, we gonna learn the if conditionals and the loops. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.